In today's episode, we're talking about stop romanticizing struggle. Suffering is not proof that you deserve success. Welcome to another episode of Money Mindset with Gull Khan. And today I want to talk to you about something that I think a lot of us have accidentally turned into a personality trait: struggle. We romanticize struggle, we glorify it, we wear it like a badge of honor. We say things like, I've been through so much. I had to fight for everything I've got. Nothing has ever come easily to me, and etc., etc. And listen, I get it. I absolutely get it. I understand that because I too have struggled. Absolutely. There have been seasons in my life where I genuinely thought, Allah, respectfully, I think my character's built now. We're good. The building is complete. Can we perhaps move on to the decorating stage? Because somewhere along the line, we started believing that suffering makes success more legitimate. That the harder something is, the more deserving we are when we finally get it. And I want to challenge that today. Because suffering is not proof that you deserve success. Exhaustion is not proof that you are committed. Pain is not proof that you are worthy. And struggle is not an admission price for abundance. Absolutely not. Sometimes struggle is simply that struggle. And you're allowed to stop struggling. One of the reasons we romanticize struggle is because we look for backwards and think, we need to give pain some sort of meaning. And I do believe the pain teaches us, absolutely does. A heartbreak may teach you boundaries. A financial crisis might teach you how to manage money. I know I've learned all my lessons every time things went belly up. A difficult relationship might teach you your worth. It did for me. But here's the important point. Something being useful does not mean you need to do more of it. You don't have to repeat it. You don't have to repeat the lesson. You don't need another 4 heartbreaks just to make sure they understood the lesson. You understood the lesson in the first place. You're allowed to graduate. Some of us are repeating a 7-year struggle like it's a PhD program. Yeah? Move on. You passed. Halas. Spiritually, I think we confuse patience with permanent suffering. We confuse sabr with, I must remain miserable because God wants me to be miserable. No, God doesn't want me to be miserable. Sometimes sabr means staying. Sometimes sabr means leaving. Sometimes sabr means waiting. And sometimes sabr means taking action while trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Quran teaches us that with hardship comes ease. Therefore, ease is part of the divine equation also. You are very comfortable praying, Ya Allah, give me more strength to carry this. But sometimes you also need to pray, Ya Allah, remove this pain. Ya Allah, remove this stress. Ya Allah, make it easy for me. Ya Allah, open the doors without having me to knock down every single door with my forehead. You're allowed to ask for ease. The difficult route is not automatically the holy route. Sometimes the door opening easily can be a blessing, and you can ask for it, and you should ask for it. And this comes up massively around money, more so than anything else. We love Rags Rich's story. Nobody wants that documentary that says, sensible girl made sensible decisions, invested well, everything worked out nicely, khalas. No, we don't want that. We want something like she had £2, 87 pounds in a bank account, and the electricity was about to be switched off, and she was living in the back of a Vauxhall Corsa, and then she built a 7-figure company. That is interesting, and we're interested in that. There's something wrong with celebrating someone overcoming adversity. Absolutely. I've done that myself. But the problem is when we start believing adversity is required for success. When things are going well, instead of enjoying it, you think something bad's about to happen. When's the other shoe gonna drop? Business is good. Children are fine. Nobody has sent you an unexpected legal letter. Your bank account looks, respectable. Instead of saying Alhamdulillah or lovely, wonderful, your nervous system says, suspicious. Something's about to be wrong, something's going to go wrong, and you start expecting things to go wrong. You want that struggle. You are conditioned to having struggle. You become emotionally familiar with crisis than peace. I've had to look at this within myself recently as well, because I'm very good in crisis. I put my sleeves up and I get going. You give me crisis, and suddenly I'm the CEO, lawyer, strategist, negotiator, emotionally emergency response team, and occasional therapist. I can perform under pressure, and I perform very well under pressure. But when you become extremely capable in chaos, chaos can start becoming or feeling familiar, and that can be dangerous because your identity becomes I'm the woman who survives. And that identity can be powerful until it stops you becoming I'm the woman who receives. Survival says I can handle everything. Receiving says I do not need to handle everything. Survival says I can do it alone. Receiving says I don't have to. And for strong people like myself, this shift can feel really uncomfortable. I'm talking to you about something that's really deeply personal to me at the moment. I am a survivor, and this really feels home to me, surviving. But it shouldn't. I shouldn't be so familiar with it. I should allow ease in my life because struggle gave me proof that I was capable. Struggle gave you proof that you're capable. So when life becomes easier, there's a part of me that's been thinking, who am I without battling? Who am I without the struggle? Who am I if I'm not fighting another battle? And that is dangerous. Some people don't know how to exist without a problem. If there isn't a problem to solve, then they don't know what to do with themselves. They solve one thing and immediately create another, problem. Not consciously, of course. Nobody wakes up and says, everything seems peaceful today, let me ruin it. Usually, that doesn't happen. But you can make things harder for yourself or harder than they need to be. You refuse help. You stay in situations long after they've expired. You undercharge. You overwork. You choose difficult people. You stay because you are proud of how much you can tolerate. And I need you to hear this. There's no prize for unnecessary suffering. None. There's a difference between perseverance and attachment to pain. Women in particular are often conditioned to glorify sacrifice. Good women sacrifice. Good mothers sacrifice. Good wives sacrifice. Good businesswomen apparently never sleep. And now exhaustion has somehow become aspirational. How are you? Busy. We say busy like it's an achievement. Like, I'm going to get a medal for it. Imagine answering, how are you? Relaxed. Well rested. My boundaries are excellent and my bank balance is healthy. People will be furious. How dare you say that? Because culturally, we associate being busy with being important. But sometimes you are not important. Sometimes you're just badly organized. Sometimes you need systems. Sometimes you need staff. Sometimes you need boundaries. Sometimes you need to stop carrying an entire organization on your back, like a handbag or a rucksack. And this matters because success built entirely on self-abandonment does not feel successful when you arrive. If you make money but destroy your health, if you build the business but live in constant panic, if everybody admires your life but you secretly hate living it, what exactly have you built? I'm not saying success requires no sacrifice. Absolutely not. Of course it does. Discipline matters. Hard work matters. But discipline and suffering are not the same thing. Hard work and suffering are not the same thing. Temporary discomfort and permanent struggle are not the same thing. The goal is not to avoid difficult moment. The goal is to stop worshipping difficulty. A lot of high achievers develop what I would almost call learn struggle. You learn, if I want something, I must fight. If I want money, it must be hard. If I want love, I must earn it. If I want success, I must nearly kill myself first, right? When you want something and it comes easily, you distrust it. A good opportunity, there must be a catch. Someone treats you well, they must want something. Money comes easily. This can't last. You know the old saying, easy come, easy go? You know? A relationship feels peaceful. Here's the chemistry, right? Sometimes what you call chemistry is actually anxiety. But that's another podcast. That's for another day. We have to learn how to tolerate ease. Let me repeat that for you. We have to learn how to tolerate ease. Isn't that a new concept? Can you let someone help you without feeling guilty? Can you make money without overworking for it? Can you sit down in the middle of the day without thinking of 20 things that you should be doing? Can you actually receive? Because abundance requires capacity. And if your nervous system only feels safe in emergency mode, peace can actually feel really uncomfortable. So I also want to talk about deservingness. People say, I've worked so hard, I deserve this. And I understand that sentiment, I really do. But if working hard is why you deserve good things, what happens when you cannot work hard? Do you stop deserving? Do you stop deserving then? If your suffering makes you worthy of love, do you have to suffer first? If your struggle makes you worthy of money, do you have to lose everything before you become rich? No. Your worth is not something that you earn through pain. And spiritually, every blessing is ultimately from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from God, right? Effort matters. But effort is not the only variable here. Timing matters. Knowledge matters. Opportunity matters. Relationships matter. Strategy matters. And from my perspective, divine decree matters. So hard work absolutely, absolutely matters. But it's not the be and end all. Do you see what I mean? You don't have to turn suffering into a transaction with God. You shouldn't be in transaction with God. You should be asking God to help and guide you. Simple as that. One of the biggest struggle lessons that I've learned is this. Just because I carry something does not mean I should. And that's a powerful distinction to make. Strong people carry a lot, sometimes unnecessarily. But capacity without boundaries becomes self-destruction. Strength is not only endurance. Strength can also be discernment. Knowing what deserves your energy, knowing when something is finished, knowing when to stop, knowing when to ask for help, knowing when to take the easier road. Those are all part of learning. And by the way, what is wrong with an easy road? People say, I don't want the easy route. Why not? Like, seriously, why not? If two roads lead to the same place and one has potholes, wild dogs, and a man trying to sell you crypto, and the other one is smooth, take the smooth road, darling. Seriously. Ease is not laziness, it's being smart. I always advocate being smart, working smart rather than harder for this precise reason. Sometimes ease is evidence of mastery. It really is. The experienced person does something faster because they have the skill. The successful entrepreneur closes the deal faster because they have the experience. The wealthy investor makes money through leverage rather than pure labor. The point of getting better at something is partly because that it becomes easier. Seriously. So stop feeling guilty when things become easier. Allow it, accept it, own it. Even spiritually, ease is not something we are told to reject. Islam itself contains concessions um, when life is difficult. And there are numerous examples of this. Traveling, there are allowances. Pregnancy, there are allowances. Menstrual cycle for women, there are exceptions and allowances. You're unable to do something in a usual way. There are allowances. Even for fasting, there's so many different allowances allowed for different situations because Allah accepts the fact that you don't need to suffer through hardship. You don't put unnecessary strain on your body. Allah gives you a concession and you're like, no, thank you. I would like a deluxe hardship package. Thank you. But why? Question is why? Spiritual depth and self-punishment are not the same thing. You can be grateful without being deprived. You can be humble without being poor. You can be disciplined without exhausting yourself. And you can become successful without crawling through broken glass to get there, honestly. And if you're going through a genuine difficult season right now, I'm not minimizing that at all. Sometimes life is hard. Sometimes there are no easy options. There's loss, there's betrayal, there are business problems, there are financial difficulties. There are moments where all you can do is keep moving. But you don't need to make a permanent identity out of that temporary season. Do not say, this is just my life. Do not say, things are always hard for me. Instead, say, this is difficult right now. And say, this too shall pass. Say, it's difficult right now, not forever. This chapter does not define the whole book. This is a very different belief. The idea that this too shall pass and there will be a new chapter is a very, very important concept to believe in. And I want to leave you with this. Some of the things I'm proudest of came from difficult seasons. Absolutely, they did. I respect the version of me who survived. I respect the woman who kept going. I respect the woman who built. I do not need to keep putting her in fire to prove that she's fireproof. That is a shift. She deserves more. She deserves better. You can honor the version of yourself who survived without constantly recreating situations that require survival. You can just thank her and then retire her from active duty. She's tired. Give the woman a holiday. Allow her space. Allow her peace. Maybe your next level is not about becoming stronger. Maybe you're strong enough. Maybe your next level is about support, softness, delegation, receiving, allowing money to stay, giving yourself permission to allow money to stay, allowing relationships to be peaceful, leaving situations that become consistently unhealthy instead of being impressed by how much pain you can tolerate. Stop being impressed by your tolerance for suffering. Raise the standard and ask yourself, why am I making harder than it needs to be? Why am I refusing support? Where have I confused struggle with worthiness? And what would my life look like if I genuinely believed I was allowed to succeed without suffering first? Because struggle can shape you, absolutely can. It can teach you, it can refine you, but it is not your destiny. You don't have to stay in struggle forever. You don't need to continuously prove how strong you are. Maybe the next chapter is not about fighting harder. Maybe it's about receiving more. And personally, I think we all have done enough character building. I really do. I'm ready for ease. I really am, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm ready for blessings. I'm ready for the money. I'm ready for peace. And preferably all of it without another life lesson disguised as absolute chaos. Thank you very much. So I'm going to leave you today with this final thought. Give yourself the appreciation of what you've been through already and accept that you are now refined. You have developed the character required to step into the next version of yourself or the next reality. But now accept the fact that you are worthy of everything you're asking for, be it money, relationship, health, whatever that you are desiring and working towards. But you can also ask for it with ease. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for you. Ask God to make it easy for you. And allow yourself, give yourself permission to allow yourself to receive help and support along the way. so that your journey becomes one of ease and grace rather than of struggle. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And so until the next time we meet, this is Gull Khan. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you think might need to hear this message. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, come and join my free school community. The link is in the description below, where you will find free training, live sessions, and an incredible community, all focused on creating wealth, purpose, and freedom. Remember, abundance isn't about the money you have, it's about the life you create, the impact you make, and the person you become along the way. Until the next time, take care of yourself. Keep glowing, keep growing, keep believing, and as always, stay abundant. Assalamu alaikum.